Hi, this is Julia Kline, and I am joined by my guest today, Dena Crowder. We are off on quite a little adventure here today. We are doing a sales wounds deep dive, and this is the first one ever. So you're here for the inaugural boat ride. And what we're going to do here today is I'm going to ask Dena a few questions to help her to identify her primary sales wounds. And we're going to see if we can't do that in 15 minutes or less. And this is all part of a preamble to a beta training program that I am starting on this Wednesday. So if this stuff really rocks your boat and you think it's awesome and you want more, well, great, because there is more for you to have. So stay tuned until the end and we'll talk about that a little bit. So, hi, Dena.
Hi.
Tell us just a little bit about you and your sales resistance.
Oh, well, first of all, I have no idea what I said yes to. To sitting in the spotlight. I just want to say that. And I'm a virgin to your sales wound method. So be gentle, Julia. Sales resistance. I don't know that I usually think of it in that terminology, but what I would say is how it occurs for me is I really just want to do my work.
Yeah.
That's how it occurs. When I hear people who are experts in one field or another saying things like, I spend 70% of my time on marketing, it makes me want to head for them their heels. It's just the least interesting thing. Usually I would not link that with sales resistance, but I think in the context of this conversation, it probably does qualify.
Yes. Okay. So your first thing is that you want to spend a lot more time delivering your work than you do marketing your work.
Yes.
Okay.
In my fantasy, I show up and the people who are ready are standing outside with their pen and their notebook ready to go.
Yeah.
They just appeared.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people have that that feeling, that resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's not realistic, and that that becomes a sales wound, or I should say, I would call that a sales wound if you in fact find yourself unwilling to or unable to do any marketing.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you do still manage to get some marketing done is evidence to me that that is not your core wound. So
okay, bye. That's not the wound.
So
you can take it off the list.
So now let's imagine, and because also I think that certainly that ratio that you mentioned of doing 70% marketing, that is, in my opinion, out of line. You don't want to be doing 70% marketing. No. You want to be doing 20% marketing, but even that most people are unwilling to do. But I think that you are willing to spend 20% of your time on marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say yes. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's not it. So let's talk. So when speaking to somebody who is potentially a client for you, mm-hmm. What part of that conversation do you find easy, and what part, if any, do you know you start to feel difficulty around or resistance around?
The conversation is blissful, easy, fun, and magical until I hit the point where the person is going to have to hear me tell them that they can't do it by themselves. And this is assuming that they actually are somebody I like and can work with, and vice versa, that they're ready, that they're in the right place. So we're assuming all that is the case. We're not assuming that this is a person who it wouldn't be the right time and right work for.
Okay.
Everything is great. And then that's the part where I feel the resistance comes up for the person, and it can become uncomfortable for me because it can be a weird position. I'm not trying to say you have to do this thing with me. That feels very pushy. But yet, a lot of times I see from what they've told me that given the environment they're in, they don't have another option that's not only not better, but even half as good as whatever it is that we're discussing. Mm-hmm. And that's where I find where it gets a little interesting.
And you say it gets a little interesting, you feel a little resistance from them or within yourself?
My first response would be from them, but we know the metaphysical laws, Miss Julia, so I'm going to have to go ahead and pick door number 2 as well. And say probably from me also.
Okay, so now let's put that into sales language. What you're saying is that basically when the rubber hits the road and you are saying now is the time, dear customer, for you to say yes to working with me, mm-hmm. That's when the resistance comes up.
Yes.
Okay. And so we're talking about that's the moment that's when you're closing them. And yeah. A lot of people I know don't like that term, closing the sale, for a variety of reasons. So, but it's the enrollment point, it's the decision point, it's the Fisher cut bait point, right? So let me ask you a few more detailed questions. Is the resistance about asking them for money specifically, and or the amount of money that you're charging?
It's the commitment, and that includes money, but it's really the whole commitment. It's the commitment to the process, whatever that process might be, and that does include the investment of time, attention, and money.
Mm-hmm. So I think what you're saying, especially since, for anybody who doesn't know you, the solution that you're offering is a coaching package, which is, we're not talking about $100, right? Give us a range of price ranges that somebody might be considering spending with you if they're getting to this point that we're talking about.
Well, the group programs are really reasonable and accessible to pretty much anybody. So the group programs would be a few $100s.
Okay.
And then if we're talking about a private program, then it's going to be considerably more, whether that's a short, I have a short custom boost, and that starts at, let's say, $1,500, and then we go up to people who are committing for 6 months to a year of really launching their whole star life.
Okay. Okay. And that's 15,000, 25,000, somewhere in that range for that level.
Yeah, anywhere from, you're talking 10, 12,000 and up, for depending on what they're getting.
Okay. Okay. Because what you're saying is you're reaching the point where somebody is, as you said, they're making that commitment, they're taking that next step. Mm-hmm. And I think that what you're saying is that it's a big step, it's a scary step for the customer,
Yes.
And you are saying that, sure, you know, everything is a mirror, so there must be some resistance in you as well if you're feeling it in your customer. But what I do think you're saying is that you do feel pretty comfortable walking somebody down that road. It's that you're acknowledging that that's the point where it starts to I can't remember what the phrase was that you said it's all blissful and easy until that point.
Yeah, the boat starts to rock.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And what I feel when the boat starts to rock is I feel the person, they've been having tapas and happy hour with me.
Yes.
They've been tasting, oh wow, that is such a delicious cab. And this cheese is magnificent, and this fruit, it's all delicious because it's small bites. Then they say, yes, I want a bigger bite because I want a bigger result. And that still sounds good and feels good. But when we get to that moment of commitment, they feel the breeze of the full meal coming towards them, which is thrilling and exhilarating, because the thing, as you know, Julia, about my work is that 100% of people who show up and do the work have results. I've never had in almost 20 years someone who showed up and did the work who did not have results. Never. So they feel this new soul star self that is emerging, and may even see a scenario of vignette of the new life. And then they kind of lean back and they realize this is going to rearrange the furniture. So it's less about the money and the actual time commitment, although that's what maybe it becomes about in their mind. It's about rearranging the furniture, because this is now God is going to redecorate your life. And that can be a little scary.
Yeah, and I think that what you're describing, you're describing, and you are, because of the nature of the work that you do, you are aware on a profoundly energetic level of what's going on.
Yeah.
And while that is on an energetic level what's happening, from on the more surface level and from the perspective of what to do about that.
Yeah.
Because you, as an energetic practitioner, can help your prospective customer through that phase using energetic tools.
Yes.
But as can I, as an energetic practitioner. But most people who are maybe listening to us are not energetic practitioners, and they need practical tools for helping their customer to get past that point. And so what we're describing on a practical level is one of two things. The one thing is, wow, that's a lot of money to spend. And as you said, for your customers, it's not really usually the money. And I find that that's the same for my customers as well.
Almost never.
Yeah, they know that it is a multi-$1,000 investment, and they wouldn't have gotten to the point of having a 60 or 90-minute conversation if they didn't know that that was what it was going to be involved, and if that was feasible. If that was...
Yeah, it's almost never the money either, because the money's already handled for them in their life, given who they are, or because it is right for them at this time. And there's someone in their life, whether it's a grandmother, I can't tell you how many times somebody's grandmother has said, I feel a really good energy around this for you. You're at a crossroads, and I know this is going to help you get where you need to go. I've always wanted to give you something. Here's $5,000. Go do this program.
Wow.
And no one's ever said, oh, I wish I hadn't given little Bobby the money. It's always been a wonderful investment.
Yeah. So sometimes the money is the issue, or I should say that sometimes the money is used as the excuse.
Yeah.
But then the other whole set of stuff is the objections that come up. And those are in the realm of what if this doesn't work?
Yeah.
What if it turns out to be more than I can handle? What if I'm biting off more than I can chew? What if I'm not going to be able to do what I need to do? What if it turns out this is the wrong time? What if it turns out that this isn't the right program for me? Which are all variations of what if it doesn't work, right? And you can say until you're blue in the face that in the 20 years of history, anybody who's ever shown up and done the work, it's always worked for them. Well, you know, the person sitting there hearing you say that as well, fine, but maybe it's just not the right decision for me to.
I'll be the first one it doesn't work for.
Yeah, or they're just saying, well, but you know, but maybe it's actually not right for me. Yes. That's why I'm feeling this hesitation or whatever, you know? And so what I always share with people is that the process of closing a client, or the process of getting them into committed action, the process of getting them to say yes and send you money, is a process of holding their hand through that decision-making process. Because if they get to that point, it's not about you, the salesperson, the business owner, the coach. They believe in you. They trust you. Whatever you've shared with them about your credibility, they know is for real. And if they are hesitating to make that commitment, it's because of self-doubt on some level. And so your role is to hold their hand through their own self-doubt process and get them to a point where they can make a committed yes and feel good about it. And what I hear you saying is that you, Dena, are perfectly capable of doing that, right?
I am.
Yeah. So right two, this is also not your sales wound. You do not have a problem with, because for some people, they have a problem taking people down this road. There's one woman in particular, a client of mine who I'm thinking of, who is in fact a phenomenal coach, but she experiences self-doubt within herself. And so she doesn't actually, when faced with a customer saying, oh, I don't know if this is going to work for me, it triggers all her own stuff. And she says, yeah, you're right. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Maybe your problems are bigger than I can handle. Maybe I'm not a good enough coach to help you, which is all baloney. She is, but it brings up her own stuff. That's her wound. But you don't have that wound. You don't have that.
Yeah, this is helping me so much. We've just taken another fake wound off the table.
Excellent.
No, you don't even know. This is great because, like, I think you're right. And you know what was coming to me after you said, well, that's not your wound either? I'm like, well, I think I have one. What could it be? And the word that came to me was visibility. Perhaps it's that simple. Perhaps it lives somewhere in there. The willingness to be more visible in however that looks or works. It is the wound. You know, it's not talking to people. It's not closing. It's not holding their hand. It's not doubt. Maybe it's that.
So what we've been talking about up until now, within my body of work, I've identified 6 primary sales wounds. And the first one is the money wound, which is just, having negative beliefs about money. Like, you were brought up to believe that money is bad, or that rich people are bad, or you can't be both spiritual and wealthy, or whatever. That's the money wound.
Right.
The second wound is the love and money wound, which is a very deep wound. And nobody ever recognizes that they're suffering from that wound until they've been working with me for a while. And we sometimes unearth that what's really going on is that there is what they really have is a desire for love, and it's showing up as a desire for money. Or what they have is a desire for love and a need for love, and they're afraid that if they receive money, the love will go away. Mm-hmm. As I said, that's a very deep one, a very esoteric one that nobody ever thinks they have on the surface. But that's number 2. The third wound, the third sales wound, is the selling wound. And that is the wound of, to me, if I had the selling wound, I would be holding the belief that in order to sell my stuff, what that means is I have to convince people all day, every day to buy something from me that they maybe don't want and don't need. But because I want to sell it and I want to make money, I have to talk them into it. And they might not need it, they might not want it, but I got to make them buy it. That's the selling wound. Then the fourth wound is the anti-selling wound, which is the polar opposite of the selling wound, which is there's no freaking way that I'm going to force people to buy something they don't want and they don't need. But because that's what sales is, therefore, I'm not going to sell at all. So I'm not going to do any marketing. I'm not going to do any lead generation. And in fact, as a matter of fact, I'm going to discount my prices and give away stuff for free because I'm so uncomfortable even asking people to pay me for it. That's the anti-selling wound. That's the fourth one. The fifth one is the prostitution wound, which again it's a deep and subtle one, but it's this whole idea of if what I was selling was worth anything, I wouldn't have to sell it. People would just want it. And the fact that I'm trying to sell it means or makes people think that all I care about is money and all I want from them is their money, and it's just very transactional, and it's really slimy and yucky and dirty and unclean, and it's something nasty that you shouldn't be doing anyways. That's the prostitution wound, none of which are you. So if your wound lies within the
first 5 out.
Yes, all 5 don't apply to you.
I have a wand here. I feel very magical that we have ruled out the first 5 wounds. What's the next one?
So the wound number 6, I believe, is wherein your wound lies.
Okay.
Sales wound number 6 is the success wound.
Oh boy.
The
Gewalt.
Number 6 is the success wound, and so fear of being successful, which is such a broad and cliched way of saying it as to not be meaningful. And of course, you're not afraid of being successful. However, what I do know about you, because of course we've had conversations about this that go beyond just this conversation today. To you, the model of success that you have seen and that you persist in holding, even though you know that it doesn't necessarily serve you, but you're holding this vision of success, which is a vision of success that you do not want. So what the wound that's going on inside of you is that success, as you unconsciously, internally, in a wounded way, are defining success, is something that you don't want. You would rather not.
Well, okay, girlfriend.
Yes, are we correct?
I think we are correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. So the process of healing this wound would be identifying what the unconscious picture of success is that I'm holding, releasing that into the great beyond, and then from the 0 point, really consciously creating a new framework and picture of what the structure of success looks like, because that will allow me the easy willingness to be visible and completely expressed in that new picture. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, that is correct. And I'll add one facet, which is to keep in your consciousness that the success wound, this visibility issue, is in fact a sales wound. Okay. Meaning that when you find yourself having any kind of difficulty or frustration or lack of ease and flow in selling, that is an opportunity for you to remind yourself that what's going on is your success wound.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And as I said at the beginning, being a virgin to this method, I did not know what to expect. But this, I do think you hit it on the head. I really do. And it's not only helpful, but if I take it, which I plan to do, and work with it, I believe that it's going to completely shift my relationship to success and to business and how I do business.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad I said yes.
I'm glad you said yes too. This is great. Neither one of us knew what to do or what to expect rather from this. So yeah, I'm glad we got to the bottom of it. Got to your sales
Thank
wound.
you. Mm-hmm. I'll be calling you for more help.
It sounds great. Sounds great.
Thank you. All right. Well, I look forward to more. I know you're going to be doing a beta test soon of these methods that you are working out to put in your new book to about sales wounds. And I'm, as I told you, I'm really excited about it because I think the world needs it. And so thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. And seeing as how this particular video is only being shared with your Soul Star family, we can go ahead and say that for anybody who has found this to be interesting and would like to delve into your own sales wounds and how to heal them, and would like to join me in the 4-week beta program, just check out on the Facebook page here somewhere. We're going to make a post about where to go.
Yeah, or they can also message you too, right?
Yeah, you can also message me.
Okay, cool.
Message me through the group. So.
All right. Lots of love, Miss Julia.
Thank you, Dena.
Thank you. Bye.